Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do a highly requested video of my birth to my son River. It was pretty interesting and decently entertaining. It wasn't like super traumatic, but the story leading up to it is pretty funny. So yeah, I'm gonna be jumping into it. I will notebook. Hopefully I don't miss any of the highlights of it. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with we decided to start trying for a baby in March 2018, so last March. My mom couldn't have babies, but they tried for a very long time, so we wanted to start trying young, just in case we had issues and we needed to do like in vitro and stuff, that we weren't super old, or you know, if it took longer we could have our kids still decently young. So we planned for that. Last year I had River when I was 24. I'm now 25. So not super young, but like nowadays people are having children younger, so I guess, you know, it can be young to some people, but to us, like 24 was a great age to start trying. So, we started trying in March. I had my last birth control in February, the end of February. And then my period didn't come in the end of March, which you know, going off the pill and stuff, the doctors tell you like, oh, like going off the pill, like your period can be screwed up anyway. So like I really wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant, but I just had a feeling and I was like, I know I'm pregnant. But then I kept taking tests and it was negative and negative and negative, and then like I like for one day, like for 2 days or so before the test was like positive, it was like the faintest line, like like I had to edit the photo so hard to see it, but I totally saw it. And then I showed Luke and he was like, no, like that's negative, like it's definitely negative, it's not positive, I don't see it, like I think your eyes are playing games with you. So it's like, okay, whatever, like I'll try again another day. So I one day Luke was working and then I took a test, and then it was like more, it was faint, but it was like more noticeable. So then I was like, holy shit, like I could very likely be pregnant. And then I had already had a meeting with my medium that I go see already booked that day. So I was like, whatever, I'll go, like I'll get a doctor's appointment after. So I got a doctor's appointment for after this medium meeting, and then I go there and I sit down and she's like, so you know you're pregnant, right? And I was like, he's like, oh my god, like kind of, like I figured I was pregnant, but like until the doctor's like, yeah, you're 100% pregnant, you're like, like I could be, who knows. But yeah, she just was like straight up just like, you know you're pregnant, right? Hadn't told anyone, and she said this, and it was pretty rad. I was like, wow, cool. And my mom had literally just gotten out of surgery that day or the night before or something like that for her knee. She had a knee replacement, and then I called her and she was still kind of loopy on drugs. So I called her and she was like, oh, like that's great. She's like kind of still high and shit from the drugs, but I just like had to tell someone, and I wanted to tell Luke like a really special way. So I was like, no, I'm gonna wait and tell him. And then yeah, I told him that night, even though like we didn't even have because I took the doctor's test and it came back negative, like my blood levels were negative. So I was like freaking out, and then I read a lot that could happen, so I was like, oh whatever, like hopeful that I was pregnant. And I think we told everyone that night, like I was like, no, I'm telling my family, I don't care, like I'm pregnant. And then next day I was it came back positive. So I was pregnant. And then, so I had a really great pregnancy until 17 weeks about. I had no morning sickness. Like, I don't know how that happened. I have no idea. But I was so happy because I'm not a puker. I'm a terrible, oh my gosh. Don't, no. Ooh. So that was one of my biggest fears about getting pregnant, is the fact that like you can like puke so much. Like I have friends who like had to go on those drugs and stuff. It's like, oh. You know, and my next pregnancy, who knows, could be like that. Every pregnancy is so different, but I was so worried. Didn't happen. So I was like, okay, good. Like maybe this will be like an uneventful pregnancy. I will be normal. And then at 17 weeks, so I was in an orphanage. I don't know if anyone's heard about the Romanian orphanages in the 90s, but it was pretty screwed up. And I was pretty much in a crib for a year. So I didn't get that like developmental like exercises that babies do, like tummy time, all that. I didn't get to do that. So my hips have always been really, really, really bad. And then I'm a figure skater, and I fell on them 1,000 times from like jumping and stuff and just falling on ice. Like it hurts. So the mix of it, like my hips are horrible. Like they pop in and out. Like we're out for a walk and like my hip pops out, and I gotta like kind of shove it back into place. Like it's really bad. So I knew right from the get-go I need a C-section. I knew right, like I was just like, nope, I know I need this. I need to be able to walk after I have a baby. Like I need to be able to not break a hip. Like who knows. So I also have a glass of cider, so I'm gonna be sipping on that. But yeah, my hips were just so bad, so I need to find someone who believed in me and understood where I came from, because I had such a unique story. No one around here, you know, understands this. Like it's a very complex issue. They don't talk about it. Romania is super silent about it. They're like neglect of children. But then I found a midwife at Middlesex and area midwives. Midwives of Middlesex and area. And I had Sarah, and she was absolutely amazing. She super put trust in me, and she knew that I knew best. I knew myself best. I knew my body best, and she really just understood and listened to me. And I needed that, because some people just didn't understand, and they're like, oh, like just try it. And I said, no, like I don't want to. I really have issues with my hips. Like I'm not going to put my body in, like, you know, I'm also a very small girl, which people always say like small girls can do it. Yes, they can, but I already had the hip issue, so I didn't want to like, you know, make it just that much worse. So she was like, I will find you a doctor who will do a C-section, or at least talk to you and chat about it. So I found him. We had a doctor in London who was also delivered my sister's son. So I was like, this is great. He's great. Super many years doing it. And I told, like, I saw my midwife a lot, and I told her the one day, I was like, I just know I'm going to have this baby premature. Like I don't know, I just have like this giant gut feeling that he is going to come early. I don't know how early, I don't know when I'm gonna know, like, but I just know he's gonna come early. I just, like I said, I think I have intuitions. Like this was my intuition. I knew it. It's like I knew I was pregnant. I knew it. So so at 30 weeks, the weekend before, so I was 29 weeks, I photographed a wedding, and I had fallen on the way there. However, it was like just a slip. It wasn't like I fell around my stomach, or I fell, like everything seemed fine. I kind of just slipped. I didn't even hit the ground, but my hand caught my body, so my hand kind of hurt more than anything. But like I was okay. Like I wasn't concerned. Luke checked me out. It all seemed good. So I worked a wedding. I got hurt, and at this point I couldn't barely walk. I was so sore. I was carrying a baby way too big for my body. My body's just not like built for baby carrying. Like, it was just, I couldn't even walk. Like, I felt like I was like, oh, I hated it. Work was so hard. It was the hardest year of my life, but I knew I had to do it. So at 30 weeks, the next week, it was Friday, October, like, I don't know, the 12th, I think. And then I was like laying in bed, and I said, like, I had actually had a photo shoot that morning, and I had like lower back cramps. So like right the day before you get your period, that kind of pain, like that dully cramp, but it's like not super painful, it's just there kind of. And that's exactly what I felt. And then I went home after the photo shoot, and I'm like, okay, like, this is still happening, and it's been like 3 hours. And then it was like 5 hours, and I was like, this is not normal. Like, and like the cramps were very consistent, like, oh, like every 3 to 5 minutes. Like, it was insane. So I was like, this is not normal. So I kind of called my mother-in-law. I was like, I don't know what to do, like, blah blah blah. And she was like, oh, like, maybe go get checked out, because you don't want to risk it. So we're like, whatever, we go, like, what is, like, you know. So we go, and I think we were there from like 2 p.m. until 9 a.m. and they were just watching like the contractions or whatever. And I didn't know I was contracting. I was just like, oh, maybe it's just a pregnancy pain, you know, whatever. And then they come in, she's like, so, like, you're fully contracting, like, you're having contractions. And then they checked me, and I was dilating. So I only got to 1, but still, like, that's kind of early to be, you know, contracting and dilating at the same time, like, consistently. Like, they were like 3 minutes apart contractions. So I was like, oh shoot, like, oh my god, like, great, like. And then they come at like 9:30 p.m. after they check me, and they say, like, you can't leave the hospital, we're admitting you, like, you need to be watched. And then I was like, I have a wedding to photograph tomorrow, like, I cannot stay here, I need to go, and then I'll come back, like, I cannot miss this wedding. And they're like, no, like, you have to stay, like, this baby could come if you leave, like. And so I had to stay, because there comes a point where your baby is more important than work. So at like 10 p.m. I had to freaking find a new replacement for me for the wedding tomorrow. It was like, I had the whole entire floor like freaking out, like everyone was freaking. And then the awesome community of London, Ontario, got it covered. I got someone, and I was like, oh my god. So, and the bride was super understanding, so sweet about it. And what could I do? I literally was like, I did not expect to go into labor at 30 weeks. But she was super great about it, and the pictures were beautiful. Like, it was great. Like, I'm so glad, you know, if it happened, that's how it happened. So I stayed in the hospital for 3 days so they could monitor me. Continued to contract, but it wasn't as, like, they slowed down. And then they talked about doing steroids and everything, but then they didn't eventually do them. I don't know why, but yeah. Yeah. But that was the most hectic, like, not 3 days of my life. After I had the wedding covered, I was fine, but like those like 2 hours was like so insane. I was more stressed about that than the actual preterm labor. I was like Luke said, my heart rate was just like, and like my like blood pressure went skyrocket because I was just so stressed. I was like, oh my god, like, this is insane. And then it all worked out, so it was good. And then they sent me home, and they're like, keep an eye on this, like, blah blah blah, you continue to contract. Pretty much said you have like a hostile uterus, doesn't really like being pregnant. There's no explanation, just go home, keep an eye on it, blah blah. So I continued to contract until I had River at 35 weeks. So for 5 weeks I was on bed rest and I was contracting and stuff, and that was fun. They were like horrible contractions. It was not like labor contractions, but it's like preterm labor, so I've been told that like that they can be different. So they're like dully crampy, like period low back cramps. Mine were. And so I almost didn't go to the hospital because I was like, oh, this is nothing, but I'm glad I did. So if you ever have those, go get checked. But yeah, I had those until 35 weeks, and that's fun. It was great. It was super enjoyable. So at exactly 35 weeks, so it was November 16th, 2018. I'm not due. I was due December like 17th. So I still had a solid month to go. Like 5 weeks. So I had my OB appointment that morning. So I go to the OB and I'm just like, can you please check me? I want to see if I'm dilating at all. Like I said to him, like, I feel like this baby is going to fall out. Like I feel like I'm going to have him literally today. Like he was like, you need to check me and see if I'm like 5 centimeters, because if I am, I'm going upstairs and getting into like the triage and getting admitted because I'm not going home. So he checks me and I'm only 2 centimeters, which is like not bad. Like you can sit at 2, you can sit at 4 for a very long time. However, he said that River's head was so low he could bounce it. So he's like, I think, you know, okay, go home and just like keep, you know, an eye on it, like obviously. So I go home and I've been staying at Luke's parents' house because Bonnie's at home, so I stayed with her just in case something were to happen and there was someone to drive me to the hospital. And just to hang out. Like I was on bed rest, so there's not much to do. It was so boring. I watched a lot of that 70s show. I watched the whole season because it was something, you know, repetitive and I could watch. Anyways, so that night Bonnie's hosting a wine and cheese party, which is great. Like I like cheese, it was great. I can't drink wine, so I'm just there for the cheese. Yeah, and we have a wine and cheese party, and Luke was there. Luke was off actually, which never really happens, but he was off, and he was drinking, like he had a glass of wine or something, and then like this was like at 3 p.m. so I had a glass of wine at 3, and then like he was gonna go have a second, and I was like, I don't know, like maybe you should just not drink another glass. Like I have a feeling this baby, like something's gonna happen tonight. Like I have my intuition. I'm telling you, I have an intuition. And I said, something's happening tonight, like just stop drinking. So he stopped because he listened to me. And then I felt so disgusting. Like, I don't know, I went and had a bath. I was like, oh my god, like I just feel so bleh. Yeah, I just like, I don't know, I just like felt gross and like bleh. So I was laying on the couch and I was gonna head into bed because I was like, I just feel like disgusting. And then also I felt like this urge to throw up, and I was like, oh, I don't throw up, but like whatever, like I can't do anything about it. And then all of a sudden my water broke, and it was like all over my mother-in-law's couch, like you know in the movies when it breaks, like that's exactly what happened. Like, and then my first instinct was to catch it, which if your water has broken, you know you can't catch that shit. Like that is pouring, like it was pouring out of me. I was like, bleh. It was so gross. And I just, oh my god, I felt so gross. But then I'm laying on the couch and I'm like, because the couch is like this, and then there's a table here, so everyone's sitting at the table drinking wine and eating cheese, and I'm laying on the couch and I'm just like, Luke, like I am pretty sure my water just broke. And then like Bonnie comes running and she's like, oh my god, like I totally did. So yeah, so my water broke on my in-laws couch. It's pretty hilarious. Good thing I get along with my in-laws great. Like I love them to death, so I was glad. But yeah, so my water breaks on their couch and we're all just scrambling. Like thankfully my hospital bag was packed, because after the preterm, like, this is preterm, but like preterm labor, I had everything packed. So I was like, I'm not screwing around here, like I need shit packed. So I had it packed. I grabbed my laptop, my camera, because I need all this, like I've been in the hospital. I don't know, like I didn't know if they were gonna deliver that baby tonight or what. Like I didn't know, I had no idea. So Luke, I'm like, you need to call the midwife and tell her, like, you need to call Sarah and tell her, like, shit's happening, my water broke, and ask her if I'm going to have this baby on the side of the road, because that's my worst nightmare. Like I was like, no, like first of all, I want to have a C-section, and then I'm not having a baby on the side of the room. Like Luke's a paramedic, but like still, I'm not having, first of all, I don't want him to deliver my child, and second, I'm just not having a baby on the side of the road. So she says, like, don't worry, like, you're gonna be fine, like, we're gonna get to the hospital, you're gonna have the baby in this, you're gonna have a C-section, it's gonna be fine. So life was good. Like, you know, I didn't start contracting until the car ride there. Contractions were like chill, and then we got to the hospital, London Health Science Center in London, and the contractions like hit me, and it was horrible. Like I don't even know how to explain it. And people say like, oh, you'll forget about your contractions, but like, come on, you don't. Like, yeah, okay, it was worth it, and I forget about it. Like, I'm not like I sit there every day like, oh my god, yeah, I contracted. Like, no, but I remember how they felt, and they felt like shit. Like, they were horrible. Holy. And then we get it in the hospital, we get a bedroom, blah blah blah. So like Sarah does my IV, gets it all in, and then so because it was like it was like my water broke at like 10 p.m. at night, so we didn't get to the hospital till like 11 something, like almost 11:30. And then obviously my doctor, who is almost retired, was not there, so I had to get someone else to deliver my baby, which actually turns out she's amazing and I love her, so I'm probably gonna have her do my next one. But it was not how I planned it. But if you ever had a baby, you know that it never happens as the way you plan it. So don't why you plan it. I don't know. So my water breaks, and then we're at the hospital, and I'm contracting. I don't know how far along I am. No one checked me. I know I'm far enough to have some crazy 3-minute apart contractions. I feel like someone's cutting me literally from the insides out. And the entire time, like, I'm in the hospital room, and like someone would open the door and I'd be like, drugs, like, give me drugs. Like, all I wanted was drugs. Like, I was like, please, someone, like, give me something to help me get through this. No one would give me drugs. The OB comes in and she's like, no, I'm not letting you have any drugs because I want you to labor for at least an hour or more, because it's good for lung development. And I was like, okay, like, I can do this. You know, like, you're having a preemie, you want anything you can do to do it, right? So I'm sitting in my head, I'm like, you can do this. Like, it's not gonna be that much longer. An hour's not that insane. Like, I still cried out for drugs. Every time someone opened the door, I'd be like, drugs, please, drugs. Like, Luke says, like, I was like crazy, like, drugs. But I just was like so in pain. And then, oh my god, so fun fact, a little TMI, when your water, it stopped, but fun fact, when your water breaks, you actually, because the baby like pushes on your bum, for me, I found that I farted a lot. Like, I couldn't even freaking control that shit. It was hilarious, but I would laugh, and then I would have it more, and I was like, Luke, I was like, oh my god, like, what's happening? But we actually laughed about it a lot. It was really funny, but like, I couldn't control it. I was like, ooh, sorry. But yeah, so they say, okay, it's been long enough, we'll get you the drugs, get you the epidural. So they made me walk down the hall. Oh, I didn't think I'd make it. Like, it was the hardest walk of my life. So I'm walking, contracting, so much fun. Let's get to the room, and they tell me that Luke can't come in with me to get the epidural, which it's like, you're putting a needle in my spine and my husband can't be with me. I was terrified. Like, that's what got me the most. I was like, I can barely even sit still. Like, how am I gonna do this? I was so upset. And then my amazing midwife, Sarah, just held me. Like, I was like, I was crying, and like, I was like just grabbing her. I was like in so much pain, but she just held me, and I couldn't have done it without her. Like, oh my gosh. I was in so much pain, but she helped me. And then when that shit happened, well, right away, I felt instant relief, and I was like, yes. I was like, okay, let's get this baby out. Like, let's go. And then Luke comes in. Apparently, I'm all cut open. Blah blah blah. But yeah, surreal feeling when you get a C-section. The tugging and pulling, but no pain, but just the tugging and pulling. It's like, ugh. And the shaking. Holy frick, no one tells you about the shaking. If you're getting a C-section, holy shit. I don't know if it's a C-section or an epidural, but I think it's an epidural. But the drugs of the epidural, I think, make you shake so much. I don't really know what it is. One or the other. You shake a lot. Oh my god. I was like... And then they were like, you need to stay still, or try to stay still, because we need to keep an eye on your blood pressure. And I was like, no, like, I'm trying, but I cannot, like, keep still because this is like shaking and I can't control it. But whatever. I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. So they pull River out and he screams, and I'm like, oh my god, thank, like, oh. He screamed, that's great, like, you want that. And then they quickly bring him to me, and we grab a picture, and I'm like, great, like, he's healthy, this is exactly what I wanted. And then the midwife comes and she's like, so River's having issues breathing, so he needs to go right to the NICU, like, he has to go. So I'm kind of like in la la land, and I was like, okay, whatever, like, you know, if you, like, you're there but you're not, like. And then everything from there on just happened so fast. They sew me up, they do it all, like, whatever. And then they wheel me to post-op, and I can't go see River until I stop shaking, and I would not stop shaking, like, would not stop shaking. So I think it was 2 to 3 hours we waited because I couldn't stop shaking. I said, you can't go until you get a blood pressure. I kept shaking, couldn't get a blood pressure. So in that meantime, they tell you your baby needs that colostrum from your boob, and I was like, okay, cool, like, what do I need to do? So you have to like pump it out yourself. So I was so like, like hot, like not high, but like, you know, looped up. So Luke, bless his heart, did it for me, and he actually said he could do it better. So he's pumping out the colostrum, and actually we had like 20 freaking vials of it, like, we were killing it. And then we finally got to go see my baby in the NICU, and that's a whole nother story, because I'm not gonna, you know, a NICU story needs its own vlog, not vlog, but like video, because there was so much to it. It was a 1 month NICU stay, like, it was a lot. So I'm gonna get back to that, because yeah, that's its own thing. So like, yeah, that's, and I healed really well. Like, I think honestly the NICU thing was kind of like good for me. Like, if I was at home, I would not be the person that'd be like, yeah, okay, I just had surgery, I need to chill. I'd be like, no, I need to go clean the house. Like, no, I have laundry to do. No, I have to do this. And then I'd probably screw myself over and like do something to my scar or this incision, right? Like, I'm just that kind of person, and I'm like a busy person. But like, being in the NICU, honestly, if you've been in the NICU, you know, you just sit by their bed and kind of just wait. Like, it's like, that is your all day, just sitting there pumping, sitting there pumping, sitting there pumping. Like, that's your life. So that kind of gave me the opportunity to heal and just not push myself. So it was kind of a blessing. As much as I hate the NICU, but I love the NICU because it gave me some amazing people in my life, and it was my journey and River's journey, and that's okay. Like, it's a beautiful journey, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So yeah, so that is my birth story, and if you have any questions, comment them below, and my next video might be about my NICU journey. we'll have to wait and see. But if you enjoyed this video, subscribe and follow me on Instagram at the Michaela Shannon. Thanks. Bye.